When we imagine a nuclear threat, we usually picture something like this: a massive ballistic missile rocketing across the ocean to strike a target. But what happens if a country builds the bomb but lacks the missile to launch it? Here is what that looks like in reality. Iran has developed the highly enriched uranium and the localized infrastructure required to assemble a device. What they lack is an advanced, reliable intercontinental delivery system. For observers sitting in Western capitals, that sounds like a manageable problem. If the weapon is bolted to the ground in the Middle East, it physically cannot reach London or New York. The threat feels contained. But focusing on the physical blast radius misses the actual target. A static weapon doesn't need to cross an ocean to do its damage. It serves as a shield, guaranteeing protection while a much more conventional attack takes down the global economy. Let's look at the geography. Iran's primary enrichment facilities are buried deep inland, insulated by hundreds of miles of mountainous terrain. Because a traditional preemptive strike is so logistically difficult, the nuclear program functions as an asymmetric deterrent. It acts as an insurance policy. If an outside coalition decides the risk is too high and drops bunker-busting munitions on those inland facilities, they won't trigger a nuclear launch in return. Instead, they will trigger a massive conventional military response. The bomb is a geographic tripwire. Touching it ensures that hundreds of thousands of conventional rockets, drones, and naval assets will immediately activate across the entire region. The primary theater for that retaliation is sitting right on Iran's southern coastline, specifically the Strait of Hormuz. Zooming in, you realize how physically constrained this waterway actually is. At its narrowest, only 21 miles wide. A comparison of global oil traffic shows roughly 20% of the world's daily crude consumption is squeezed through this lane. Shutting down a waterway this concentrated doesn't require a nuclear arsenal or a massive blue water navy. It requires cheap, highly localized tactical assets. This is the reality of maritime warfare in the Gulf. Swarms of highly mobile, heavily armed, agile, fast attack craft are specifically designed to harass and disable massive, slow-moving commercial cargo ships. When you layer dozens of those agile speedboats with thousands of underwater naval mines and batteries of anti-ship missiles positioned along the coastline, the 21-mile gap becomes an absolute wall. This reveals the true leverage of the static bomb. A direct strike on a silo in the mountains means an immediate, hard closure of the planet's most critical energy artery. That localized bottleneck instantly ripples outward, paralyzing the wider international shipping network. Within hours of a closure, thousands of supertankers are stranded at sea. Ships scheduled to pick up crude are locked out, and ships currently loaded are either trapped in the Gulf or rerouted at massive, prohibitive expense. That physical deficit in raw crude oil immediately hits downstream supply chains. Refineries in Asia and Europe throttle down, meaning fuel shortages quickly cascade into the manufacturing and commercial transit sectors. Global markets don't wait for the last barrel to run out. The mere prospect of an indefinite shortage triggers financial panic, causing crude prices to spike to historic highs practically overnight. The result is a total freeze of forward momentum. We are left with a stagnant global energy market, widespread industrial shutdowns, and crushing inflation. A dropped bomb leaves a localized physical crater a few miles wide. The oil crisis triggered to defend that bomb creates an economic shockwave that touches every port, factory, and gas station on Earth. The shadow of the atom works perfectly well without a delivery system. By simply existing near the right choke point, a static nuclear weapon is entirely capable of holding the modern world hostage.